As the Islamic State loses ground in Iraq and Syria, its followers are trying to open a new front here in Southeast Asia. Five weeks ago, militants loyal to IS seized control of this city. Government forces are still fighting to take it back. Over 4 days in Marawi, we watched airstrike after airstrike. Bombers overhead, diving towards their targets. They've been living through this here every day for more than a month now. There's no end in sight.
We're pretty close to the front line here. The fighting is intense and it is sustained. It has been going on like this now for several hours. You can see the minarets of the mosque over there, which is where they think these militants are basing themselves. And this is part of the problem for the Philippines military. They train to fight these rebels in jungle conditions, but this is now close quarters urban warfare. They are fighting here now street to street, at times house to house.
As the call to prayer echoes out across the city, we film more troops heading back to reload. Through the gunfire, you can hear loudspeakers broadcasting constantly, urging the rebels to surrender. They show no intention of doing so. The Islamic State news agency released this video. It claims these are its soldiers fighting in the streets of Marawi. A few hundred men holding out against an army and an ally of the United States. This is powerful propaganda intended to draw more recruits to their cause. Sky News drone footage from inside the rebel-held territory shows the mosque believed to be their headquarters. It can't be targeted, but whole streets have been flattened beyond. What was the commercial heart of Marawi, now a city of rubble and flames. Hundreds of civilians are still thought to be trapped and hiding here. This commanding officer told us some of those caught by the militants are being used as slaves and orderlies, some as human shields.
And you believe some of them are being dressed up by the militants?
Those hostages are being dressed. We have some visuals of this one, that they are being dressed with a black robe. We believe these are civilians because we can easily see how they move.
We're trying to reach a family we've heard is still in touch with relatives inside. But nowhere in the city is safe now.
Yeah, guys, let's go straight down to the blue vehicle and then directly across. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, everyone happy?
There's a danger from sniper fire in the street, so we have to line up and run across the road.
Okay, right, let's go.
As we reach the door, a bullet lands less than a metre from our team. It seems we're being targeted.
Every day, thin sniper, bullets, because we don't know what is the purpose of this multi-groups or ISIS group. And that is why, till now, we feel nervous, traumas, especially the children.
We'd planned to stay inside until the sniper threat passed, but then a fire starts. The only way out is back the way we've come.
Okay, he's there. You ready? All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, thank you. You're going to go first because you need to get into the back of the vehicle. Go.
I'll go in second.
Okay, go.
Get down here.
Okay.
Get down here.
Get in. Close the door. Go. Go, boy, go. Stay down. Once you're clear of this mosque, we'll be okay.
Further on and out of immediate danger, we see the reinforcements rolling in. A long convoy of armoured personnel carriers heading into the city. More soldiers packed onto trucks. Graffiti marks the route the militants took. ISIS slogans painted on the shutters. Above the street stalls, blackened bananas have been left to rot where they hang. Most of the 250,000 people who lived here have fled. We pass a dead dog abandoned in the road. They've set up checkpoints at every entrance to the city to search for men and ammunition trying to get in and any fighters trying to escape.
And the last is, the younger Maudi.
So these are the Mauti brothers, the leaders of this group.
They are the founder who found the Maudi group.
The attack was led by two groups, the Mauti, led by brothers Omar and Abdullah, and Isnilon Hapalon, one of the FBI's most wanted terrorists. Seen here is said to be planning the attack with Abdullah Mauti. Both groups have pledged their allegiance to the Islamic State. This region, with its poverty, lawlessness and the legacy of decades of conflict, is fertile ground for would-be new militants. This man's nephew was killed in Marawi fighting for the Mauti. He says there are many more like him.
Actually, sa Cotabato, mismo sa area namin is siguro ang pinakamababa 10. Mismo sa barangay namin. Actually, marami nang namatay sa itong nangyayari diyan. Ang marami siyang na-convince na babaeng mga bata, lalaki, babae, na mga bata.
In this video last June, IS called for those who could not reach Syria to head for the Philippines instead. A number of foreign fighters have already been found amongst the dead. Back in Marawi, to mark the end of Ramadan, a temporary ceasefire was declared, a brief humanitarian pause. A small group of volunteers armed with megaphones and religious leaders headed in towards the front line, risking their own lives to try to save others, to try to bring some of those trapped to safety. But as we waited for news, shots were fired into our street.
This is meant to be a ceasefire. There are negotiators in there right now trying to get permission to bring these civilians out. But there are bullets coming down this street, so we're all just taking cover. Yeah.
Three hours later, the rescue teams returned. In the arms of one of the soldiers, a 14-month-old baby girl. Her bewildered family huddled in the back. They'd been hiding in a basement for 33 days. Dazed and exhausted, they still had to be interviewed by the military, but at least now they were safe. The father finally able to give his daughter fresh water to drink and to explain what they had been through. His wife had given birth to their second child while they were trapped. Their baby did not survive.
May bumabagsak, sir. Upo lang kami sa kwan, dumapa lang kami sa lupa.
Yung baby din naman, anong reaction ng baby pag every time may ganun?
Yung kwan umiyak.
In the back of an ambulance nearby, the body of a 72-year-old man. Hassan Ali had suffered a stroke. He died before he could be reached. Even as we filmed, the fighting resumed, the ceasefire over. One family rescued, now on their way to hospital, but how many more left behind? Katie Stallard, Sky News, Marawi.